Yo, what is good, guys? Welcome back. In this video, we're going to actually program the logic that will start displaying things to our widget. You could make this widget however you want to. I just need it to be something that works. You get what I mean? So I'm gonna go over here to this graph, and whenever we hit these filter buttons, we want to do something. So of course, what I'm gonna do is just create the delegates for these. So let's do on clicked for that, on clicked for that, on clicked for that, the head button on click. Let's put the legs button underneath that, the torso button underneath that, and then we'll do something with this item container and something with this image as well. Let me see, what is this image? This image is this guy, right? So this is our screen capture image. And this is going to be using a capture component whenever we get to that. Control S to save. And when we apply, we want to do some things. So basically, if I was doing this in C++, I would leave a comment for myself to say, right here, we want to save the skin preferences, which is something that we have not set up inside the code yet. But we will be able to test this widget right now just to see it pop up with the items and the icons and things like that, just to let you guys know that the work that we are doing is not for nothing, you know? So first thing I want to do is make a function here, custom event, and it has to be a custom event since it is going to call an asynchronous function. This is going to be load the character parts. All right. So the first thing we want to do is grab our asset manager and get the primary asset ID list. And we want to pass it the character parts. With these parts, we want to run a for each loop. Once we find these parts, we want to call async load primary asset. We don't want to pass it any bundles. Once this item is loaded, we want to actually make a variable, and this is our loaded items. And I'm going to convert this to an array. So I'm gonna delete this, come over here, convert it to an array, and then drag it back out here and say add, and we'll add this item to this array once it's completed. And this way, we just do the prelim stuff here. And when this is completed, we wanna do another for each loop. And we want to grab this array right here as our array element. And then we want to cast these to our character item. So cast to character part item. And if this is successful, for each of these that gets created, we want to actually create a widget. And we'll just use this one. So the widget class is going to be of that icon, and in this icon we're going to want to do a couple things. Before we do this, let me set the owning player to our owning player here. And yeah, in this widget, when we create it right here, we actually want to set it up. Right now I'm not going to do things like have like a hover menu that pops up when you hover over a part so that you can see what it does or what it is. Basically, we're just going to show the icon. You just have to remember what the icon is. I'm showing you the most generic way to do this, because if it gets too in depth, man, we can be here for hours. All right, so let's call this the I just want to give it the name of icon. And basically what we want to do is create a function here, and this is just going to say set up icon widget. And this function can do it like anything, bro. This function can take in a bunch of text, and it could set up the text that reads. It could set up the image. Just get creative with it. With this, we want to set icon or set brush from soft texture. That's the reason we made this a tsoft pointer, because we can just pass it directly in here inside of our function here. Match size, no, we don't want it to match size. We want it to fit where it is. So we'll save that. This function is what we want to call when we set up this item here. So we'll call set up icon widget, and it's waiting for a soft texture. We want to pull off of this and get our icon, and we'll pass that in there, right? You see how simple this is? And you can make it as advanced as you want to. A person like me, taking this to C++, make it more performant. You dig what I'm saying, baby? You got to do things right. After we set up the icon widget, we actually want to take this puppy and add it to our container. So let's get our icon container. And then we want to say add child. And here we will actually, basically, we actually don't want to do this. So just so we can use filtering, we don't want to just add this to the container. We want to, when we set up this icon widget, and this is why we do these things, we want to put a filter on this. And let's add another input here and set this to the slot. And let's look for our character. What is our character slot? Character slot. Did I not make that blueprint? Oh my God, did I not make that a blueprint type? We all make mistakes, guys. We all make the mistakes. It just feels like nope, E body part slot. E body part slot. That's what we're looking for. Body part slot. Yes, here. And here we want to actually set a variable on this class. So this is our icon, or let's just call it slot. Oh, that's already in use. Okay. Icon slot. Screw it. We'll try to remember it. Save that. And we actually want to set up this icon widget and pass it the, okay. This gets a little tough because our slot is actually locked into this, where is it at? It's locked into this tag here. So what we actually want to do, and since this is just data, it doesn't actually need to be soft load or anything like that. We want to iterate over, and this allows me to remember a couple of things as well. So what we want to do is grab the mesh, get part mesh, and we want to iterate over the values of this, get the values. This allows you to grab the values off of this. For each of these items, we'll get the values here, and then we'll do a for each loop on these as well. I know it's nasty. Figure out a better way and share it with your boy. I just don't feel like trying to optimize this right now. So yeah, for each of these, what we want to do is break this character part. And here you can see we can get the part slot. And basically we'll do this right here. We'll create this item widget, set it up inside of here, give it the slot, and then we'll add this item to a, how can I say it? We'll add this item to another variable that we'll use to filter later. So we'll promote this to a variable and we'll say, this is our icons, or our, yeah, this is our icons here. And I'm gonna change this to an array of item icon widgets. So then we can take this and say add, whoops, to here, and we'll add this guy. Yeah, once we're done with this actual array here, then we will, actually we don't need to do anything else. Now that we have all these icons, we can start using our filter system. So let's get another custom event. Let's say filter by slot, and we'll pass this a slot. So body part slot. Call this a slot, or we'll just say filter, right? And we'll take this filter and we'll look at these guys here, these icons that we got, and we'll run a for loop on them. For each of these, we want to get the slot, and, well, sorry, let's get icon slot, which is a value that we stored on there. And we want to compare it against this. If these two are equal to our slot filter that we passed in, if this is the case, we want to take this element and add it to this item container. So we'll say add child here, and we'll take this element, pass it there only if this is true. If not, we won't do anything. And then before we filter, we will grab this item, this icon container, and say clear children, just to clear it out. And by default, when you open up this widget, it won't actually filter anything. What's that? Okay. So by default, when it's constructed, we'll go ahead and tell it to filter by slot, and we'll pass it the head slot so that the head is the first thing you see there whenever you construct this, and then you could go about it actually clicking on the filters. And then you know what we're going to do with the buttons here. So let's organize these. So we got our head, we got our arms, we got our legs, and we got our torso. So when we click those buttons, we want to filter by type or filter by slot with head, arms. We want to filter with the legs. We also want to filter with the torso. Okay. So now we have this ability to filter. Now I think what we can do is kind of test this code out, see how it's working, see if it is working, see if I am actually good at what I do. So yeah. We will, first off, we need to do this, right? We need to load the character parts first. I just remembered that. Okay, because we filter by slots, we don't have anything. So we need to load the character parts whenever this thing is constructed. And then instead of calling this right here, we'll call this whenever we first finish this array. So whenever this finishes, we'll filter by slot right here. And we'll use the head slot. So that'll go ahead and set us up with a widget inside of or with an icon inside of our widget. And let's navigate to a place where we can kind of test this out. So let's go to the content folder. And first off, let me turn off the engine content. Don't really care about it. I want to see the plugins, shooter core content. I want to go to the game folder where we can find this B hero shooter mannequin and open that puppy up. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch maps to the shooter gym. And then another thing I want to do is whenever this project opens, is it going to have the compile shaders? Okay, good. Whenever this project opens, I actually want to open up that shooter gym map. Right? So that we don't have to do that again. So we'll save that. We'll come to this B shooter hero mannequin, and then let's just make a custom graph for, I usually put my shit under God tier because that's what I am. So in here, we want to actually do like a debug key, and let's do debug key T. So whenever it's pressed, we want to construct a widget. So let's create, actually the real function for this is push content to layer for player, and we can pass it our activatable widget class, which is our character host, character screen host. That's and the layer we want to use is the model layer. Suspend input until complete, no. Owning player, let's get the player controller, and let's pass this in here. So when it's pressed, we'll push this content for layer for player, and then after it's pushed, we'll store this widget. This is all temp code here. So we'll promote this to a variable here. I'm gonna drag this to this, and I'm actually gonna call this temp underscore, because we're gonna do this in a whole nother place. This is temp underscore modular character. Go ahead and save that. And when it's released, we actually don't want to do anything. So basically what I could do is toggle this. If this is visible already, we will deactivate the widget. Else, and we want to set this to null pointer as well. We'll set it to null pointer after we deactivate it. Sorry about how this code looks. Set it to null pointer after we deactivate it. If it's false, we'll just create this thing and create it and push it to our screen. Compile this, and now we should be able to play Oh God, hold on. Hold on. This is gonna get hectic. Okay, it's compiling. Not that many shapes. Let me stop the play editor, turn down my microphone. Jesus Christ. And inside of this editor preferences, let's go to the developer settings and then override the bots to spawn to 0. And then I'm gonna tick this off because the aim on these things are too crazy. So now if we hit play, I'm gonna go full screen. If we hit T on our keyboards, you see we get this guy, this head here. If we go to arms, we got our arms. If we go to torso, we got our 3 torso items. If we go to legs, we got our 2 legs. If you remember, those are the items we created. If you guys want more proof because you don't believe me, and this is full screen, so I need to actually, oh God, oh no. Okay, not putting buttons on this makes it bad because I can't do anything now. Oh my God. Oh no. Oh no. I can't do anything. I gotta close down the editor. Oh Jesus. Okay, we gotta stop this puppy real quick. Okay, you see there it works. You see there it works. Okay, it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of buggy. We haven't added the things that we need. Okay. Yeah, my bad on that one. So go back into the UI here and go back to the character selection screen. Maybe not go full screen this time, and let's at least in the back, just so that we can get out of this thing in the back button, let's deactivate. Oh man, okay. I would have to say get root. You know what I'm gonna do? I am going to do a delegate here and say back button pressed, and here we will just call this, whoops, I don't know if that's correct. Okay, I think this was at the top. Yeah, this was at the bottom. We're going to call this whenever the back button is pressed, and then inside of the activatable widget, the host, we can go ahead and bind to our, so we can bind event to, hold on, we can grab this guy and say bind event to back button pressed, and whenever this button is pressed, we'll add an event, and we'll just say back button, and we'll call deactivate widget on this widget, just so we can get out of there. It's also saying that I haven't implemented this get desired focus target. So if we go to this override functions here and override this get desired functions here, let's just drag it this character selection here. It might say that this thing isn't focusable, but hey, at least we got rid of that warning. So as the proof in the pudding here, what we could do is whenever we filter inside that filter event is we could, technically we don't have access to these items right here, and I don't want to store them here. I guess you just have to trust me. I guess the thing that we could do is kind of print the name of these so that you can see the actual name of the data asset that's getting used. We can just say get object name, and to be even more accurate, we can say get primary asset. Ooh, no. Wait, what is this? No. Yeah, that's what I want to use. I want to get the primary asset ID from this object, and I want to get the asset name, and then I want to print this to the screen. Let's let it sit in red. Uh-oh, what do we do there? Is that a, okay, it opened up the, let's go red. I'm gonna drag this up here. We'll go red, we'll let that stay up there for 3 seconds here. And we'll pass this guy in and not the key here. Looks sloppy, but it's just to get the point across that this is all working. It's getting the data assets asynchronously from the folder that we passed it to, and it's reading those things and giving us that information. So if we hit play again, I won't go full screen here. If we press T, we get that widget. You can see it's in detected 105 or something like that. Access none. I'm trying to access this, and I see WBP modular selection, but I don't see anything popping off right here. So there's some kind of error in there. It says this does not support focus. Okay, so that's creating an issue. So let me first off make sure I didn't screw up here. Yeah, what the hell is going on there? Okay, let me set this thing to be focusable. The canvas panel, maybe. Maybe the whole widget needs to be focusable. Yeah, so we'll say is focusable. And maybe that was the error. I'm not sure if that was the error. Okay, you see there? Part types, arms, male, part types, head. Oh man, it was too fast. It was too fast. Oh, and let me fix this. I'm gonna show you guys another trick. If you hit Control P, you can search the entire project for shooter. Let's look for shooter underscore. And I think we can find the hero shooter mannequin. No, I don't see it. Hero shooter. Okay, I don't know what it's called. You gotta know the thing by name to be able to do that, but Control P should let you search for things specifically by name if you know the name. Hero underscore shooter mannequin. Shooter mannequin is one word. Why didn't that pop up? Okay, so first, let's check if this is valid. Just because that's getting annoying. If it is valid, that means obviously it's been created. So realistically, we don't need to do this. Just check if it's valid. If it's valid, deactivate it, set it to null pointer. If it's not valid, do this little optimization. You dig? All right, if we press play again, if I press T here, you'll see that everything works as expected, but there is an error here. If we press T or if we go back to hide this again, and then we press T, well, first time we press T, it won't work because technically the widget is still valid. We just now set it to null pointer. And now when we bring it back, you see now we're pulling more items in here, but we don't have that many items, and it like tripled up here, which is not ideal. So, and that's because we actually pressed this button 3 times. So there's a nice bug there that I want to fix in the next video. Also, we're running into this. It still doesn't support focus, even though I set it to be focusable. So we'll try to iron out those bugs in the next video. So if you guys are ready for that, I'll see you in there. Peace.